This video is going to be looking at tests. So just a reminder, I'm going to be going over this material with your students in class during the first week. So your students do not have to watch this. I just want you to be informed as a parent about the hows and a little bit of the whys behind what we're doing. So as I mentioned in our last video when I was talking about our outlines and our responses, the test questions are going to be pulled directly from what we talk about in class, right? So I don't ask them questions from their reading. I don't say, what did God say in Genesis 3 unless we talked about it in the outline. So the outlines are exactly 100%. Every test question comes from the outline. So I promise you, everything that I ask your student on a test is something that I have said and usually said repeatedly and with great emphasis in class. I usually say test questions like that. So kids will usually pick up on that. What do I want you to know about tests? Well, let me just give you sort of an overview here, kind of a 35,000 foot view. I want your students to think of tests, and I want you to think of tests sort of like a catechism. Right? I'm not intending your students to have these things memorized, but I do want your students to have the key truths of what we talk about. So I've gone through the set of questions I had last year, and I've dramatically shortened those. And each section of an outline has one test question. So shorter books, like for example, I think Esther has 4 test questions. Longer books like Exodus, I think, have 7 test questions. But that's what we're basically talking about. We're talking about 4 to 7, 4 to 8 questions from each book that I want your students to know. That these are the things that we talked about, and I want them to be fresh on your mind all year long. So here are some logistical things about the test that I'd like for you to know. As I said, the first test will be the 4th week of school, just to kind of give everybody a chance to settle in. And then after that, they will be every 3rd Friday. So every 3rd Friday, your student will have a test. And here are some things that I promise you. They will always be multiple choice. There are other ways to do tests, and multiple choice is one of them, and I like it. I like it for the sense, again, we're going for more of a catechism feel. I want this to be something your students aren't afraid of. I want it to be something that they almost look forward to show what they've learned. And I also know that in our in-class writing, in our in-class note-taking, a lot of the sort of other needs of testing, application, and summarizing and synthesizing, we'll be doing that on a daily basis, and so I don't feel the need to do that again on a test. The test is more to make sure, hey, are you remembering these key truths? Because there are some things that we're going to talk about in August that I want them to remember in May, and the only way to do that is to keep asking them at regular intervals to recall those truths, that they'll hide them in their heart. So it's every 3rd Friday. It's always multiple choice. It will never be more than 50 questions. Okay, so the total number of test questions that are possible by the end of the year will be like 200, 300 test questions, but will never be more than 50. And so the way I do this, it says cumulative. And so what I'll do is this. On that first test, we'll have questions from the units that we've finished. For 7th grade, that'll probably be just the first unit. The God's Big Picture takes about 3 weeks. For 8th grade, that'll be probably the first 2 units, the 16 verses and the Threads of the Gospel unit. And I will take the questions from those 2 units, and I'll give you a multiple choice test. And as we move through different units, we move through Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, each of those questions will be featured twice. And again, I know this sounds very hard to understand as I'm just talking about it, but I promise you, your students will grasp it, and you will as well as we go through. But every test question sort of goes into the potential test question bucket. As I'm populating tests, they will continue to be cumulative. So we might take a test in April, and your student might be asked a question from the very first test. So they always need to be reminding themselves and refreshing themselves on this. The way I help them study, that's sort of down here, Quizlet and other resources, is I will, before the first test, I will give your student a packet, both 7th and 8th grade students. I will give them a packet that will have every test question for the entire year on it and the answer. Okay, so they will have it right there. They will have it. I'm also going to be sharing a link in an email that I'll be sending out to you, Lord willing, in a couple of hours. I'll be sharing a link that has a link to join my Quizlet class. And there you will find every single test question and answer broken down into the different units. And what I will do, the week before a test, I will send you a link to a study set that will have all the material that they might be asked about, and they can study. So they can study using Quizlet, they can study using the printout right there, and as we still do have a study hall for middle school, I always tell students, hey, that's a great thing to do in study hall. You may not have anything to do that day, but you know you're going to have a Bible test in a couple of weeks, so just pull out that packet and spend 5 or 10 minutes reading through those questions and answers. So that's how we do tests. It's worth 20% of the total grade, and we will have, roughly speaking, 10 to 12 tests this year. So if you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. In our next video, we will look at deportment and how your students will be evaluated based on their behavior in class.